Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm your host, Lisanne Faye, and we're here in Haven. And just to explain how messed up I was for a second as I was about to start recording, I completely forgot that I don't move my mouse cursor in order to change my camera angle like I would in Mass Effect. So, that's where I'm at currently.
It occurs to me I don't actually know much about you.
What do you want to know?
I'm not sure. Where are you from?
Be honest.
My clan never stayed in one place for long, though we primarily roamed the free marches.
Oh, I didn't think your people roamed that far north, but clearly I'm mistaken. I'm told some members of your clan might still be alive. Do you intend to go back?
I might, once this is done.
It will not be the same once you do.
No kidding. Tell me about yourself, the Seekers.
Can you tell me more about the Seekers?
The Seekers of Truth were born from the original Inquisition long ago, when it united with the Chantry. Seekers stood above the Templars, watching over them but also investigating magical events they couldn't handle. We were meant to be incorruptible, above reproach. How seldom does reality match the ideal?
Okay, but what is...
But what are Seekers exactly?
Those who know anything of us think we are Templars. We do not use lyrium, however. Our abilities are different, as was our original purpose. We disciplined the Templars and were accountable only to the Divine. And not even her, truthfully.
So nobody ever watched over the Seekers?
It was the Divine's duty, but she could only do so much when the truth was hidden from her. The Templars have always feared us. When a Seeker arrived at a circle, they knew trouble was afoot. That kind of power is troubling. You begin to think you are the only one who can solve the world's problems. If you don't see a problem, it doesn't exist. If someone insists it does, they are the blind ones.
Do you think that kind of problem could ever be fixed?
Possibly. Though the Seekers themselves would need to change. They were clearly not willing to, even though they abandoned everything they stood for to avoid it. In my heart, I believe they can still be salvaged, but not by their own hands.
You mentioned that Seekers have different abilities than Templars.
Entirely. A Templar's abilities come from lyrium and are designed to hunt mages. Ours come from ritual and many years of dedicated training. We cannot be possessed by demons and are immune to mind control. Useful considering our role. Seekers can gain other gifts, though that depends on the individual.
Huh. Okay.
How does someone become a Seeker?
Most Seekers begin training in their youth. I was much older, an exception due to my noble birth. We train rigorously for years. Our bodies and minds must be elastic to undergo the vigil, and most fail even then.
And that is...
Is the Vigil some kind of initiation?
It is the rite every Seeker must go through in order to summon their gifts. A full year of fasting, prayer, and separation from all distractions, including other people. We empty ourselves of all emotion, focusing only on the purity of our devotion. And the moment it finally ends, it's wonderful. Faith realized. I cannot put it into words.
I wish I could experience that.
If the vigil was not so arduous, I'd say more should attempt it. What if mages never needed to fear possession by demons? I'm told it is impossible, however. I suppose I'll never know the truth of it now.
So...
Why did your order turn against the Chantry?
We originally united with the Chantry through a treaty that stated they would keep mages under control. It was felt Most Holy had tacitly allowed the Circle of Magi to vote on its independence, thus breaking the treaty. The Seekers saw themselves as justified, and they led the Templars into a war of righteousness.
But you disagree.
You sound like you disagree.
We knew what was happening at Kirkwall, where the Mage Rebellion began. We looked into reports of Knight Commander Meredith's harsh treatment of her charges years earlier. But we found so many shocking cases of magical corruption, it was decided her actions were justified. If we'd been there when it happened, if we'd looked harder at the root causes...
You seem to care a great deal about it.
Too much, if you ask the rest of my order. When faced with a problem, the Seekers would close ranks and crush it. We would find an answer, but only once we felt we weren't being coerced. The moment the mages voted for independence, our response was predictable. It was difficult to watch.
Interesting.
I've no more questions.
Alright, thank you, Cassandra. Cullen, do you see anything new?
Was there something you needed?
Is there anything I should know?
Redcliffe wasn't always a refuge for mages. Some of our recruits have family there. They fear for the place, as do I.
Okay.
That's all for now.
Another time, then.
Alright. Let's go see Blackwell?
Now that we've got better maps, if you like, I can show you a few tricks to get more out of it.
Oh, can you now?
Fine, forget I said anything. Growling at everyone but your dogs.
No, go ahead. Who knows? Maybe some fancy noble riding might save my life if a scouting ride goes wrong. And maybe I'll show you a few tricks as well.
Ah, there you are.
I've been meaning to thank you. There are 100 things that need your attention. You didn't have to take the time to help me, and yet you did.
If the history you pursue benefits the Wardens, then it was worth it.
You've proven yourself to be an honorable woman. Principled. I've great admiration for you, and I've never been more certain in my decision to join you.
Oh, good.
There will be opportunities for us to do even more in the future.
Then I look forward to it.
Okay, investigates. Thoughts?
What do you think of the Inquisition?
I expected more. More men, better equipment. You may have Andraste's favor, but wars are won by men, soldiers.
Avoiding war altogether would be ideal.
True enough. Still, it never hurts to be prepared. One thing I will say about your men, they're passionate, devoted. You inspire them.
Great.
Build on that foundation, and you will have an army that makes nations tremble.
Yay?
We should return to our duties.
As you wish. You are, after all, in charge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad there are big, strong men.
Oh dear.
How's it going?
You have anything? Nope, guess not.
See you later, Bull.
See you.
Thanks, Bull.
You built for them the golden city, the center of all creation. And for a time you dwelled
Please.
among
Oh, wait. Nope. Right. That's not my use key anymore. I actually have to click to use things.
We'll need some of your
Oh. So. Okay.
And how much is Mother Giselle willing to offer?
Can you really put a price on the love? Speak
Okay.
Sing.
Alright, Varric.
Need something?
The golden city.
The red lyrium we found at the temple seemed to upset you.
My brother Bartrand and I sort of discovered red lyrium during an expedition in the Deep Roads. We located an ancient thaig, so old it barely looked dwarven. There was this idol there made of it. Bartrand brought it back to the surface, and, well, everything's gone downhill from there.
Okay. What do you think it is?
So what is it? Just another kind of lyrium?
The red stuff is lyrium like a dragon is a lizard. It's not just a different color. It has a whole host of weirdness all its own. I've written to every mining cast house in Orzammar. No one's seen this stuff before or knows where it came from.
Great.
What makes it special?
Regular lyrium can mess you up pretty badly, but you have to ingest it for that to happen. Red lyrium messes with your mind when you're just near the stuff. You hear singing, get violent, paranoid, and then it does creepy shit. Makes things float, brings statues to life. It also turned Kirkwall's Knight Commander to lyrium. Everyone's been kept at least 100 paces from it since.
Okay, so why was it in the temple? Thoughts?
How did the red lyrium get in the Temple of Sacred Ashes?
I don't know. So as far as I knew, the only piece to make it to the surface was destroyed. And the location of the thaig it came from is a secret. Did someone find more of it in the Deep Roads? That's not a cheery thought.
No, it's not.
I think that's enough on red lyrium.
Yeah, not really my favorite subject.
Well, I suppose we'll handle figuring out where some of it is. Into the tavern.
Chasing mages, that's a Templar's job. A big, armoured, pissed-off helm polisher. Not too late to go find some. Or stay home.
Tell me about your friends.
You apparently have a lot of friends. Tell me about your network.
It's not mine, right? I mean, it is, but it's also everyone. Everyone who wants to shove it to nobles who hide behind gold and silk. And hats, I guess.
So what do you guys do?
Are you just about pranks and revenge, or is there more to it?
Well, it's a weave, right? I grease a ballroom, so a wyvern chasing Git has to hunt sprays. Strangely, handmaids leave his vault open. His heirlooms pay off someone else. Maybe clean streets in Kirkwall so someone gets something else. Pish, pish, pish. A lot of people eventually get help or a laugh. Or maybe someone dead. They deserve it.
Good to know.
I'm glad I met you before someone decided what I deserved.
You're no hateful ass so far. I'd just get you with a pie or something. Anyway, assassin's a bard's job, innit? No fun, that lot. They might plonk a noble, right? But only to raise another. Plus, I'm shy at singing.
So was there ever a red
Is
Jenny?
Red Jenny real? Or was she always just you and your friends?
Dunno.
Don't you care?
Not if it works. I mean, red is scary because blood. And Jenny is... Look, nobody fears the bunch of people who do random stuff. And besides, it's easy. Nobles want a bogeyman because they need to believe normal people can't get at them. Numbers, right? It don't have to be so complicated.
So
Doesn't this mean people think you're guilty of more than you actually do?
Suppose. Does it matter?
Shouldn't it?
Important people kill over imagined insults. I've made more than enough real ones, so no. I don't suppose it does.
alright.
We'll talk another time.
It's all good, isn't it?
Lovely. Hello, Solus.
Greetings.
I'd be interested in hearing your opinions on elven culture.
I thought you'd be more interested in sharing your opinions of elven culture. You are Danish, are you not?
You sound upset about this.
What's your problem with the Dalish? Allergic to Halla?
They are children acting out stories misheard and repeated wrongly 1,000 times.
Oh, but you know the truth, right?
While they pass on stories, mangling details, I walk the fade. I have seen things they have not.
Yeah, so teach them.
Fine, you think we're terrible. What about the alienages full of elves who aren't Danish?
Why? What would it benefit some poor man in a Ferelden alienage to learn that his ancestors strode the land like gods? It would only make him bitter, or inspire him to take a foolish risk and get himself killed.
Wow.
You've decided his reaction for him.
Perhaps I have. If you have questions and believe the answers will help, ask.
Very well. Tell me about
Is
magic.
the magic they teach in the circle different from the magic I learned with my people?
No and yes. Magic is magic, just as water is water, but it can be used in different ways. Dalish magic is more practical, not needing chantry approval, although they still frown on blood magic. Superstition, much of it is more subtle. A legacy from when elves were immortal.
The legends of elven immortality. Did they use magic to increase their lifespan?
No. It was simply part of being elven. The subtle beauty of their magic was the effect, not the cause of their nature. Some spells took years to cast. Echoes would linger for centuries, harmonizing with new magic in an unending symphony. It must have been beautiful.
So,
You said that the censure against blood magic was a superstition.
I did. It's fortunate Cassandra is not within earshot. Most modern cultures forbid blood magic. Publicly, even Devinter disapproves of it. But as I've said, magic is magic. It matters only in how it is used.
that is true.
To be honest, I don't see it as different from any other magic. It's a means to an end.
Indeed. The problem is that under the Chantry, blood magic is forbidden, so only criminals practice it. While in Devinter, magisters compete with each other instead of keeping their volatile friends in check. They always succeed through power, so they have never had the chance to learn another way.
Alright.
What can you tell me about elves living in human cities?
The culture in alienages or among the slaves of Devinter is like any of the impoverished and powerless. They cling to memories of a better past and practice a few rituals to distinguish themselves from humans.
Okay.
Are all Danish elves like my clan?
No. Your clan was unique in having enough interest in human affairs to send you to spy upon the Divine's meeting. As your clans have been separate for so long, they have all changed, adapting to the lands in which they live. Some are no more than bandits, others trade freely with humans, and some have disappeared entirely to the forests.
Okay.
I'd like to know more about the elves from before our time.
The Dalish strive to remember Hallam Shiral, but Hallam Shiral was merely a fumbling attempt to recreate a forgotten land.
Arlathan.
Elvanan was the empire, and Arlathan its greatest city, a place of magic and beauty, lost to time.
You've studied ancient elves. What else do you know of Arlathan?
We hear stories of them living in trees, and imagine wooden ramps or Dalish aeravels. Imagine instead spires of crystal twining through the branches, palaces floating among the clouds. Imagine beings who lived forever, for whom magic was as natural as breathing. That is what was lost.
Interesting.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Alright. Well, that's it for you. I think I talked to everyone? Oh, except Vivienne. But Vivienne's in here. Click. Okay.
Yes?
I wanted to ask you about the Circle of Magi.
Of course. What do you wish to know?
If the Circle disbanded, how can you still belong to it?
The circle is an idea, my dear, and an idea cannot be dissolved. Many of the first enchanters voted for rebellion, caring little that anything short of a unanimous decision would pit mage against mage.
Rather than dissolving it, Grand Enchanter Fiona's vote split the circle in two. The rebels follow her. The loyalists follow me.
How did we come to this state with the circles in revolt?
A failure of perspective that infected Circle leadership. Mages lived solely in a world of Templars and mages. They could not even imagine what was beyond the tower walls. Kirkwall gave the world a reason to remember its fear of magic. A mage killed hundreds with a snap of their fingers. Across Thedas, a new tangible fear of magic grew. Commoners and nobles alike called out to the Chantry for protection. But the malcontents in the towers thought nothing of this. They cared only for themselves and for their anger at the new Templar restrictions. When a mage attempted to assassinate Divine Justinia, again, the mages protested the investigation. The leadership chose to vote on independence based on the intolerable conditions imposed by the Templars, sparing no thought to the fact that magic was more feared in the aftermath of these attacks than it had been since Tevinter's day. So long as they had their freedom, they could care little for riots, angry mobs, or about pitting mages against each other.
Did they have cause to rebel?
In the aftermath of their terrorist attacks? Was that really the most opportune time to break away? By all means protest abuses by the Templars. Just don't do it in a way that says mages support wholesale murder. By voting when they did, my colleagues all but declared war upon the ordinary people of Thedas. A war in which we are outnumbered 100 to 1.
It's interesting hearing her perspective now. For me, having gone through and read Asunder, in which the vote that she talks about that splits the mages happens, and including actually the assassination attempt. She mentions in this conversation. So, it's interesting. But there's other implications that come up as well. So, I'm going to hold back on that.
Are you familiar with Grand Enchanter Fiona?
We've met. Before her horrendously ill-timed and selfish vote for independence, I thought her adequate at her job. In her dotage, she could not handle looking after the well-being of so many people. We would have done better to replace her years ago, to let her spend time gardening.
I thought the fighting was only between mages and Templars. Why are mages fighting mages?
The vote for independence was carried by only a small margin, but Fiona chose to let the motion stand. Those who opposed a rash declaration of war against the entire free world had little choice. By breaking from the Chantry when they did, the rebels declared themselves in support of mass murder. Anyone who did not wish to support terrorism and the slaughter of innocents was forced to take arms against the rebels.
Very different perspective.
More healing drafts for you, revered mother. Thank you.
Okay. Do I have
If you're
these?
not using them later, Zegrit is willing to pay.
I don't feel comfortable letting parts from demons be available for sale.
To be honest, I'm not sure he would buy them.
Josephine?
Good day to you.
Anything?
What do the people make of us?
Despite our fame, we're low on steadfast allies. We must aim for more.
Okay.
Any visiting dignitaries I should watch out for?
None in particular. Our guests are well pleased with what they've seen.
Good. Alright, well, I'll let that stand.
When there was no sky,
Alrighty. To the table, where we have things to pick up.
my scouts still comb the hills for clues about the explosion. I'll take what I can find.
Okay, I was correct. Spreading word that the Inquisition was allied with the Grey Wardens meant messages of support poured in. With the treaties in hand, we've managed to secure new recruits and donations of both gold and equipment. The commander will make good use of them. Gold and griffin robes. Okay, thank you. Mischief, not malevolence. The servants involved were dismissed, and we've a minor reward for the effort. Present for Bianca. I should have had more faith in my agents. Of course they tracked down Provident, who has sought shelter from the Mage Templar conflict with a wealthy Navarran patron. We provided a brief description of Bianca, and Provident accepted the design for a leaf spring stabilizer to suit one of her stocks. We were also able to secure his original designs for our own use in siege engines. Investigate strange chalk markings. Okay. Those are complete. Ooh, so I don't have that much. Of course I say this and it's gonna open. Excerpts from Rector's report. Do you know this sign? A triangle point down, two wavy lines through it. A lookout spotted it in chalk on a ruined wall close to one of our outposts. A cursory inquiry into the symbol has revealed nothing. Archivist still looking. Argent thinks she saw the symbol or something very like it scrawled in a ledger that belonged to the Comtesse de Bayard. A sweep was done as you ordered. Almost every outpost of ours has been marked in this manner. Many believe we are being watched. To what end, we do not know. So either spy or ask. You know, they're Liliana's people, so I'll let Liliana handle it. With Jean Gaspard removed from play, Carolina or Monette will almost certainly be the next Duchess of Leeds. As the struggle intensifies, Carolina has sent agents to cause a scandal, judging that Monette does not have the skill to avoid such snares. Monette has relied upon Mother Renee, a mentor in the Chantry, for advice upon how to strengthen her claim to the duchy, and the revered mother, in an attempt to protect Monette, has sent mercenaries to threaten Carolina's life. You know, I'm gonna let Cullen handle this.
All right.
And back over here. And Josephine.
Let us begin.
Alrighty. I realize, of course, there's one person I forgot to talk to. Namely, Liliana. So. Sorry, Sarah. It was kind of an accident, I promise.
I did not see good Templars and evil mages in that circle, sister. I saw prisoners and jailers. The prisoners learned fear, and the jailers cruelty.
But the Templars served the Chantry.
Until we asked them to be less harsh in their treatment of the mages, at which point they rebelled. I am not certain the Chantry should ever have been backed by blades.
Liliana.
It seems Blackwall knows nothing about the disappearance of the Grey Wardens. It's a disappointment. I am, however, glad that he is with us. Even if he was not what I expected. He seems to be a good man, and his experience will be an asset to the Inquisition. As for the other Wardens, I suppose we will have to keep looking.
Updates?
Anything I should know? I have nothing to report at the moment.
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends.
and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
That pole gets in the way.
You seem to know Josephine quite well.
I met her a long time ago, but we didn't become good friends until years later. After the Blight, in fact. I'd just returned to Val Rayo, and she welcomed me back by throwing a diplomatic ball. She was the Antivan ambassador at the time, you see. The ball was... alright. Too many politicians. At midnight, Josie and I left to find a real party. We've been friends ever since.
What does a real party involve?
What do you consider a real party?
It's not a real party until someone's small clothes are pinned to a chantry board. And that's all I'm saying about it.
You would know all about that, wouldn't you, Leliana? Small reference back to Leliana's song there, where you can pin some noble small clothes to a chantry board.
They say you spent some time in Lothering. Did you know the champion?
We spoke a few times. I seldom left the chantry, and we never became more than casual acquaintances. I saw more of the Hawk twins. Bethany in particular. She would spend time in meditation at the chantry, and she seemed to like my stories. The other one, the young man, he was a little surly.
And the hero of
You
Ferelden.
have a history with the warden who entered the Blight, don't you?
I count him among my closest friends. I still write to him for advice when I can. He hasn't replied to my letters in some time. I try not to worry about it. He can take care of himself.
Yeah, well, oof. That's true. If I can take care of himself.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am.
Alright, so that is going to end this episode. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. And in the meantime, in between time, take care, have fun, happy trails.